Welcome back to Benny's Custom Works, proudly supported by Sparesbox. Today we have an all new project car. We're in it right now. We thought we'd do something a little bit different and take it for a run before we show you guys what it is. Obviously, if you've clicked on the video, you already know what the car is because you've read the title. This has been a dream of mine for years to own one of these. Recently, I was fortunate enough to actually come across one at a very reasonable price. It is a fixer-upper. I'm not very good at paint and panel, so the bodywork is really good on this car. There's definitely some stuff that still needs to be tended to, but we'll do that down the track. But it does have some mechanical issues. The engine's strong, the engine's good, so that still ticks the box. RB26s aren't cheap or easy to come across parts, so that's good. But the biggest issue is the clutch does flare pretty badly. So yeah, straight off the bat, this is going to need a clutch. But the biggest thing we're going to do with this car, rather than modify it, we're actually going to restore it. So R32 GTRs are pretty thin on the ground for a good original car. This one was modified by the previous owner, but not heavily. And to his credit, he kept 99% of the original parts he removed. So things like the wheels, the seats. You can probably see we're sitting in some R34 GTR seats. It does have the original 32 GTR seats with the car as well. So like I said, we've been lucky enough to receive a lot of the original parts. And also, he was still buying modification type parts for it as well up to about 6 months ago. So we've got a stack of parts that he purchased that we've now received upon purchasing the vehicle that we're actually going to sell off to basically part fund the restoration of the car. So the plan is, there's no timeline for this build. It's not going to be a weekly or bi-weekly series. However, I did want to show you guys the car today and take it for a run, and we are going to do some stuff to it today. So we've got some standard struts. Well, they're actually Bilstein struts. They're going to go in the car today, and we're also going to be putting the standard wheels back on it, primarily because we're going to start to move some of the parts on that have come out of the car as well to put that money into the car to buy OEM parts. So we've actually purchased some parts from Japan already. We've been on Yahoo Auctions buying some stuff. So we've already spent about $1,000 on genuine parts. Just tiny fiddly little stuff, like we got genuine badge set, a new under tray for the engine. It does have an under tray, but it's been cut. So we're just kind of picking all these little bits and pieces that we want to tidy the car up. Even things like the battery terminal cover was missing. So yeah, we've basically started picking those parts up, and we're really focused on trying to keep it as an original vehicle. So we've sort of put the call out. Peter Hypertune's actually got a lot of R32 parts as well, so he's going to be sorting us out with some bits. And we're currently speaking to some Australian-based parts suppliers as well that do a lot of genuine Nissan stuff. So we'll definitely be trying to keep as much of the stuff local as we can, but not all of it's available locally either. So we've got to work out what we can get here, what we got to buy from Japan, and hopefully by the end of it we work up to a super clean 32, something that we can just sort of keep and treasure for a while. This isn't actually the first Nissan I have restored, so we've never shown it on camera, but we do have another 180SX that is a genuine Type X car. We're nearly finished the restoration of that vehicle, and unfortunately we kind of started that off camera, so it was hard to bring it on camera partway through. So we will do a bit of an unveil and a walk around of that car at some point. However, because we sort of didn't kick off from the start, it was too hard to tell the story partway through. So with that in mind, we're going to focus on the full restoration story of this vehicle. Obviously we are going to do some paint and panel stuff to it. That's going to involve removing all the glass. We're going to be replacing glass moldings, all sorts of bits and pieces to really bring the standard of the vehicle up. So sorry to all you guys that were hoping we were going to do some 1,000 horsepower turbo 400 setup. This isn't going to be a drag car. We've already got the Cresta, so I want to do something a little bit different, something we haven't done before on camera, which is effectively reinstating all of the original componentry to the vehicle, and yeah, basically just giving it a full freshen up and keeping it as original as possible. This isn't going to be a full nut and bolt restoration. We're not going to be rebuilding things like the engine, the transmission, or the differential, purely because they're still completely functional. It's not like I said, it's not going to be a concourse restoration, but we do want to make it aesthetically as clean and original as possible. This is the original engine and transmission and differential for the car, so it's never been completely apart before. We're probably going to pull the engine and the transmission out of it because we do need to do things just like, as I said, we need to do the clutch. The time belt needs to be done because we don't know how many kilometers the time belt has actually done. So rather than take a punt, it's much easier to just replace it than potentially cause a lot more mechanical problems down the road. We've just got the front coilovers out of the GTR. They're actually in really good condition. These were only fitted about 5,000 kilometers ago by the previous owner. Keeping in mind that we are going to be restoring the car to a more OEM style, big green strut tops poking out of the strut towers is not really the look we're going for. And it's also not the ride quality and the comfort we're going for. So we've got these Bilstein struts. They were in another 32 GTR. They're obviously not original to the car. However, all the OEM stuff that we were looking at was all flogged out and it had a pretty hard life. So this is probably about the best we're going to find. We will tidy these up later, but I do just want to get these out to start with and hopefully recoup some money. They do need some new top rubbers, which we can replace later. These are quite simple to pull back out of the car should we need to do that later once we get some bits. So we'll get these in now. And then we're just going to move into the rear end and fit the rear struts as well. So we'll start to whack these in when I work out which one's left and which one's right. Huzzah. You watch this not fit back through the arm. Oh, Jesus. Gotta like screw it in. Now that we're under the car, you can see it's fairly original, but there are some leaks. We've got a weep from the rear diff. We've also got a bit of a leak from the transfer case where the actuator for the four-wheel drive system goes into. That's super common. Pretty much every all-wheel drive Nissan box I've seen has that. My Stag had it at one point and basically just give it a super good clean and give it a bit of grey sealant, and that seems to sort it out. They do have an O-ring on them factory, but even with new O-rings, I've had them still leak, so grey sealant seems to sort that out. Moving towards the front, everything's still looking good. So pretty happy overall. I do got to have a little bit of a shopping list going for the underside of the car, like we've got a broken exhaust hanger here and a few other bits and pieces, like it's got Cusco sway bars front and rear at the moment. we're going to put the genuine Nissan ones on, but we're going to replace the rubbers that mount that. Otherwise I would have swapped them out today. Same thing on the front. We've got, as I mentioned before, got the Cusco front strut brace. We do also have the caster rods though, so we're going to change those out today just for the original Nissan ones. Well, original Nissan ones, they're actually Nismo ones. So this car's had a lot of Nismo arms fitted previously. So they're still basically the original Nissan arm, however they have a higher density bush in them. So it's a good little split between the factory one and a performance aftermarket one. I'm not too fussed about leaving genuine Nismo parts on this car because obviously they're from Nissan. They're not original to the vehicle like when it was new, so they weren't option when the car was new. It's pretty easy to tell because they got the later Nismo logo on them, which didn't actually exist when this car was new. So they're probably fitted sometime in the 90s, but it's not going to affect the car in my opinion, and I don't think anyone's really going to look down upon it for having the Nismo parts in it. So we'll remove a lot of the aftermarket stuff, but genuine Nissan or Nismo stuff we're going to stick with. So we'll continue on. Well, that's us done for another episode. Hope you guys have enjoyed the first in a long series of the GTR refresh and refurbishment. It's going to be a long road. We've just basically done simple stuff today, put some of the original suspension back in, gone back to the original wheels. The original wheels do need new tyres. These things are pretty bad. Just more so their age than anything, so we've got some new tyres on order. Hopefully we'll have those later in the week. I've also got a second set of R32 GTR wheels that are about to head to Barrel Brothers for a full refurb and freshen up. So once those are done, these will actually just get sold off to replace the other ones I've got. But we'll keep chipping away at this thing, and hopefully we get a batch of parts to turn up pretty soon from Japan so that we can dive right in. But we'll pretty much pack it up for today. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.